Alright guys, in this video we're going to look at conditionals, if-else statements, which basically are used to decide to do something based on a certain condition, if it's true or if it's false. So as you can see here, we have some comparison operators like is equal to, is not equal to, is greater, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. And then logical operators like and, or, and not. We have membership operators like not, not in, and then is not, which are identity operators. All right, so we're going to just kind of look at the basics here. So let's create a couple variables. We'll do x is 10, y is 6, and let's look at a simple if statement. So I'm going to say if x, and then the comparison operator I'm going to use is equals to, or equals, or equal to, however you want to say it, equal to y, and we want to put a colon. So notice that I didn't use parentheses, no curly braces. This is the syntax for an if statement in Python. And then of course we want to indent, okay? Here we're not inside the if statement, here we are. So let's just do a print, and I'm just going to put an f string here so that I can take the variables that are above. I'm going to say x is equal to y. All right, and now if I run this with Python 3 conditionals.py, we get nothing because this is not a true statement. If I were to make it true and run it, then of course we get 10 equals 10, or 10 is equal to 10. So if we want to put an else, let's do a simple if else, and I'll use a different comparison operator. Let's do if x is greater than y, then we'll go ahead and do a print. Okay, so we'll say x is greater than y, and let's say else, and let's do a print, and we're going to just change this to less than y. All right, so let's save that, and let's change the y back to 6 and run it. So we get 10 is greater than 6, which is true. If we change the y to a 16, then the else should run, and we get 10 is less than 16. Okay, so that's a simple if else. Now, if you want to do more than one condition, you can use an elif, which is like an else if. And we could do like, actually, let's just copy this. Could copy that, and then in between here we could say elif and then another condition like x is equal to y, and then whatever we want to do, we could copy this print here and say x is equal to y. Okay, so I'm going to comment this out and then run the file, and we get 10 is less than 16. Okay, if these were to be equal, then this should run right here. Okay, so we get 10 is equal to 10. This one is also running, that's why you see it twice. And then let's see, if x is less, then the else should run. This should run right here, and we get 6 is less than 10. Okay, we can also do nested ifs. So let's say nested if. So if I wanted to say if x is, let's say, greater than 2, and then I wanted to keep going and say if x is less than or equal to 10, then I wanted to do a print. Okay, we're going to make sure that this is indented correctly. And we'll say, let's see, so x is less than 2 and greater than 10. All right, and x right now is 6, so that should be fine for that to run. Let's comment this out. Okay, so we get 6 is less than 2 and greater than 10. All right, now this is kind of a poor way of writing this. I mean, this probably isn't something you would actually write anyways, but if you were to do that, you'd be better off using an and logical operator. So you could just do if x is greater than 2, and instead of nesting, just simply put and x is less than or equal to 10. Okay, and then you could just take this, put that in there, All right, so if we run this, we should see it twice because it's running here and it's running here. Okay, but I'm going to comment these out. Actually, I'm going to copy this one because I want to show you we can also do or and not. So I could do or, and it would be x is less than 2 or greater than 10. So basically, if we do it this way, only one has to match or be true. In this case, they both have to. Okay, so that's the difference between and or. And this is just basic programming logic. We also have not. So we could do like if not, and then pass in, like, let's say x is equal to y. And then we'll do print we'll say x is not equal to y. All right, so let's clear this out and run it, and we get 6 is not equal to 10, which is a true statement. All right, so let's move on here. I'm going to just comment this stuff out. I know these aren't the most exciting examples, guys. I just want, just for the beginners that are just learning Python, I just want you to grasp the basic syntax before we get started on the fun stuff. So membership operators, these not and not in, these are used for things like checking to see if something is in a list. So let's say numbers, we'll create a simple list here, and let's do an in. So we'll say if x in numbers. So what this is going to do is it's going to look at the x value, which is 6, and it's going to check to see if it's in this list. Okay, so if it is, I'm just going to print x in numbers, and this will actually give me a true or false statement, or a true or false value. So if we run this, we get nothing, because this in fact is false. If I do, or if we change, let's actually add the 6 to the numbers. That way it is in it. So I'll add a 6, and if we run this, we're going to get true, because this right here evaluates to true. We can do not in, just like we can do in. Okay, so I can say if x not in numbers, comment this out. If I run this, we're going to get nothing, because it is 6 is in numbers, so this doesn't get a chance to run. If I go ahead and get rid of the 6 and run it, we get false, because this actually equates to false. All right, hopefully that makes sense. And lastly, we have identity operators. So I mean, this is pretty simple. It's just is or isn't. Like we could do if x is y, and we'll print x is y. Oops, I just want to comment this stuff for you guys. So this is. So right now, these don't match. Let's make them match. And then when we run this, we should get true, because this is true. And then what we're printing, x is y, this will actually give us a true value. So we get true. At the same time, we can do is not. So is not. And then I'll change the values so they don't match. And now this should, we want to do is not. This should evaluate to true, because x is not y. And there we go. All right, so I don't want to spend too much more time on this, guys. It's pretty basic stuff, but it's also very important for you to know how to format these things. So in the next video, we're going to start to get into loops.